Russ. Russ, one of the premier artists of this generation, ushering the generation of music into the next phase. Teaching folks how to be autonomous as they own their proprietorship, own their IP, own their music, own their masterings, own their direction. That's Russ.
Yes.
And he's featured on our guest new album, at least the remix of a song called Life and Money, which we'll play momentarily. I met this man in Ghana. And I've gone on record since I've been back from Ghana to say that was the most transformative trip that I've ever taken outside of the States. I've been to South Africa. I've been to Djibouti. I've been to Kenya. I've been to a few places on the continent of Africa, which many people we often have to repeat has 54 countries. So when you say Africa, you're talking about 54 countries. I was taught Akibulan. 54 countries.
Yep, over 1,000 official languages.
So it's not one-dimensional. Okay? We're going to talk about 5 dimensions today. We're going to get into the 5th dimension with one of the most awarded artists to ever come out of Ghana, and I dare say out of the continent of Africa, who's worked with everybody from Carrie Hilson to Sean Paul to Trey Songz to Burna Boy. I mean, he's done a lot of collaborations. He comes from a huge family. He's a pop star. I say this because the first time I saw him and met him was in Accra, Ghana, when Chance the Rapper and his lovely family and his brother invited me over to just hang out. They brought me to Ghana to hang out because they wanted the experience that they visioned to include me. And it had a lot to do with a line I said in the movie Stomp the Yard, where I said, I've never seen blackness like this before. And Chance wanted to start his documentary off with me saying that. And when I was in Ghana, I was so overwhelmed from a physical and spiritual perspective that my body reacted. And for the first time in my life, I lost my voice. Which told me God wanted me to be silent and observant and take in this environment and information.
Yes.
Because at the time I was dealing with some things. So I was absorbing the original land of my descendants. I was absorbing that and taking in all of that energy. And I saw this young man grace the stage that I had never seen perform before. And I'm standing next to people in the crowd. And I'm like, who is this? And somebody said to me, he's the Jay-Z of Ghana. I said, what? He's the Jay-Z of Ghana? Let me see this man perform. And 52,000 people in the crowd. It was like mayhem when this dude touched the stage. 52,000 people in the crowd. It was like mayhem. It was, I got it. When Jay-Z does the Barclays in Brooklyn, he sells it out 5 or 6 or 7 times because he's at home. He's symbolic in so many reasons to people because he represents success. He represents the future. He represents growth. He's an inspiration. He's a mentor to people, even if they never spoke to him. You can learn about Jay-Z through his lyrics and through his actions. This man, for Ghana, in my opinion, is the same thing. I'm going off on this intro because I know a lot about your past, and I know it ain't all been hunky-dory, right? His first album came out in 2012, but he's been putting it down for a minute. He's faced some adversity in his public image, in the public eye. He's been in the reversal mode of all of that through his charity foundations and all the work he's doing and all the outreach he's doing. So he's beyond that. All right? We ain't even got to go too deep into that, but I find it fascinating. He's here today, Def Jam Universal, is it?
Of course, yeah, of course.
Def Jam Universal recording artist with his new album, 5th Dimension. Man, y'all give it up for the one and only STONEBWOY is here, man. I say Ghana's finest, but I was freestyling, guys. Sometimes the words don't flow like that, man. But was that intro, did that do you justice? Though?
Amazing. That was, I don't know, I'm lost for words. I'm actually soaking it in like you soaked it in Ghana, you know what I mean?
You soaking it in now, right?
Of course.
Yo, bro, when I was in Ghana, oh my gosh, dude, I went to the so-called castles. What is it, the
El Mino Castle.
El Mino castles. Yeah. I don't call those castles, bro. I call those dungeons.
Of course, that's the original name for them anyway.
The dungeons. This is where they, transported enslaved folks over to wherever they were taking them in that transatlantic slave trade, whether they taking them to England or South America or North America. This is where all that heinous, hideous crime of humanity was taking place.
Yeah, it's spread all over Ghana anyway. It's not. Elmina Castle is the most popular one. But there's like probably so many castles and forts in the country, in all parts of the country, because the trade was going on in different forms in different areas anyway.
Growing up in and around that, what kind of psychological impact you feel like it has on people who grow up around the place where their ancestors were taken away?
Of course, those who grew around the place might probably not sink it in as much, because of course they live there, they're used to it, so their meditation will probably be looking elsewhere. But the most significance that it has on all of us as a people and a continent, and especially a country, is that you have to realize that such and such had happened, and therefore the people in the diaspora, most definitely a large chunk of them are our own people. So for me as an artist, it has always inspired me to represent for all of us as black people. That's why my foundation is straight dancehall and reggae music without apology, knowing the fact that that is coming out of us.
Yes.
And therefore I could also allow myself to be well inspired. As much as I am African and I am Afrobeat and I'm African music, I've always had that notch to want to connect both worlds, and that's what I've been at from time till now. And I believe that it's giving me such a mission to be fulfilling every time. That's why when I pulled up at the Black Star Line Fest, you saw the energy, you saw the spirit, like a commander up on stage car. I was telling them every phone lighter up, they know the energy, they know what I represent. So for me, for the castles and all these things, it still reminds us that there is a need for I myself personally to continually put in the work to bridge the gap between the Caribbean, the people, the diaspora in Africa.
In
That's
Africa,
what it means to me.
Wow.
when you go in these dungeons, Tracy G, it's horrific.
Of course.
The context of the stories and how they did folks then, and I feel, I learned in Ghana so much about myself. My family traced our roots back to West Africa, different parts of Ghana, different parts of Nigeria. And when I walked out of what they call it, the last passage, or what is the point of no return?
The gate of no return.
Gate of no return.
Yeah.
You can open your mic up.
Yeah.
But then I walked back in.
Yeah.
And I say this often, and I feel like my ancestors was applied to me like,
Yes.
you came home, son.
Course.
You came home. Here in the States, STONEBWOY is with us. New album is called Fifth Dimension. We're going to talk about that. Here in the States, that part of the history, I don't know if you read the headlines, you've been hanging out here in the States, over in Florida, they're trying to, what we call sanitize the history of those folks who came from Africa or various places in Africa to the States enslaved. They want to sanitize the history and pretend like it didn't happen. And the fact that it did happen was beneficial to us.
No, it's not. I read it.
You read that, right?
When I read it, I pushed it over because that's, of course, that's illiteracy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's intentional, how you say, sabotage. You know what I mean? To try to wipe it over. And I think that has been happening in different ways and different forms. And that is how come it's gotten to this level. The lot of stories and a lot of truth has been rewritten, so much so that now this is where it's gotten to. And in the next 50 years, if care is not taken, the generation that's going to come will not know what the truth is. They would rather now be believing the fact that it was beneficial to who?
Yeah.
When we were working on the farms, who was going to be the one to actually be innovative? Who was going to be the one to create and use their wisdoms to be able to work for the master? So all this innovativity, all this creation of gadgets, all this, you know what I'm saying, all this technological advancement have been gifted and given to us to be able to work this work. So sometimes that's how come you find out that there are so many inventions of black people that are not in the news.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know? And guess what? Some of us know the history. Some of us come from the continent.
Yes.
And some of us see it every time. Like you say, anytime I go through Elmina or any part, I feel the same way that you feel.
Mm-hmm.
I can't hold it. Sometimes I tear up because it's no different. For the fact that we are born in there and we live there doesn't mean that we don't feel each other's pain. We feel the same way. You know what I'm saying? So they can't rewrite history. They
can't rewrite history. Not
of course, that's why the news is against it. Because I mean, there are so many factors and facts that negate what they're trying to.
That's why it's important we got artists like yourself. STONEBWOY is here. All right, Burna Boy, who you worked with in the past. How did y'all meet?
Yo, Burna is like a brother to me. We met in 2014 thereabout, you know, and right from the scratch, you know, he's a very good friend of mine. That's how we did, because guess what? We sort of like have the same style, the same. When you hear Burna, you know the vibes. Burna Boy, STONEBWOY. It was Burna ranking them time there, you know, and then it transformed to Burna Boy. There's been STONEBWOY from before time still, and it's a beautiful energy to see that, you know, a brother in the same light and in the same inspiration has well conquered the globe, which is, of course, you know, like he said something the other time that I always, you know, love. He said, like, the one that starts the race doesn't mean they're going to be the one that ends the race or win the race. You know what I'm saying? So that really tells you that it's a collective, it's a family kind of situation. We all are supposed to push it to the top level. So me and him being friends, we met in 2014, did a couple songs, did performances at the MTV Mamas, you know, being featured on albums. Me and him drop remixes, you know what I'm saying? So now it's time for drop a new something, you get me? So Burna, 100%. Come on, man. That's our blood right there.
I feel like when y'all do that, man, like y'all might need... I don't know if you need some ad-libs on that, baby. You know what I mean?
Of course. You should do the intro. Trust me, you should do the intro. Man. You know, I have big respect to Burna anywhere he is. You know the vibes. I can't be... Bro, to be proud is like an understatement, because I know me and that brother, they're reason enough, you know. We reason a lot. Like, that's how we really be. Like, I never really put so many things in. Me, I'm, you know, kind of like low-key still. Yeah. But a hardcore foundation. What's low-key? What's low-key
about you, bro? That necklace? Them
earrings?
Them earrings? What you think is low-key?
Okay.
Because you wearing the lopes? Okay. That's like, you think we don't know it's you?
Okay. I mean, when I say low-key, I don't know, but that's cool still, you know. It's cool. We're coming. I mean, the thing is, from Ghana, you know, we have always been like an inspiration, like a raw inspiration to the rest of the continent, you know. And that's why I say low-key when I say low-key, because there are a lot of Ghanaians who are in helms of affairs in the most core parts of the movers and shakers of the industry that's happening even in the West. Okay. You know, but you wouldn't find them as much as you find the Nigerians. So generally,
you're right.
Like
I get it now. I mean. You are absolutely right. Yeah. But what I do like is the camaraderie between someone from Ghana and someone from Nigeria. Yes. Because when I went to South Africa and I'm hanging with Casper Noe Vest.
That's my not Casper, aka Casper is a brother as well.
Yeah. AKA Rest in Power. You know,
Costa Teach and all them one.
Yeah.
All family.
All family, Nasty C, all these guys. Stogie T, the General. You know, and it was interesting because they did I went to South Africa and hosted a cypher. But separate from that, they asked me to speak. And I went into this community center, STONEBWOY, and I started speaking. And I'm excited. I'm like, man, we got people from Zimbabwe. Yeah. We got people from Kenya. Yeah. We got people from Uganda. And none of them are collaborating. None of them were speaking to each other. Yeah. And I'm sitting there campaigning like a coach. Y'all, we all together. I'm from the States. Yeah. And I didn't feel the cohesiveness that I expected to feel. Why is that?
I think I can break it down like this. Okay. Somebody said this, and I buy the idea. Out here in the West, all black people literally find themselves pushing the black movement because they don't really know about their ethnicity.
Yes.
Right.
Down there in the continent, we're pushing the ethnicity and I'm Zimbabwean, I'm Nigerian, I'm Akan, I'm Ghan, I'm Igbo, I'm Yoruba, I'm Hausa. Do you know what I'm saying?
I understand what you mean.
Like, so for you, it's really very easy for you to just come big. Oh, y'all collaborate already, like Ghana, because that's what you see. You don't even have an idea of any ethnicity or a deeper belongingness. You know what I'm saying? But back home, sometimes we know ourselves, we know the ethnicity. So at least I think the mentality around that literally keeps us a bit more in
our pockets.
And then I think the political system plays on that a lot. To achieve its votes and all of that. So I'm just broadening it to an extent where you can see where it could be really stemming from. Okay. But aside that, I feel like language barrier is another thing. You know what I'm saying? Like we speak English. Nigeria and Ghana are like twins already. We're on the west side, but we're surrounded by French-speaking nations. So sometimes it's really difficult to, and even so, it's actually difficult to travel around Africa more than coming over this side to travel. Because when I come to the States, as big as the States is, I just go from one state to the other. The best comparison should be Europe. When I get my Schengen and I go into Europe, I can run through Africa. I can run through the whole of Europe without any borders, without any extra visas.
You can't do that in Africa?
But as a Ghanaian, I need visa to go to South Africa. I need visa on arrivals. To even fly straight is like impossible. You need to fly to one other end to the other end. It's even more expensive than flying to Europe. So you can understand these are the actual factors that contribute to, that little thing that you see and feel like, y'all should be collaborating already. The factors that separate us are kind of like deep, are very prominent in our faces, although we have stuff that should be uniting us more than the stuff that separates us. So I think these are the these are the factors that...
Some of the factors that would keep that divide.
Exactly. It keeps it without people really knowing... what it is. But I always take my time to go out. I went to Zambia before I came out here. Like I've been pushing, go Nigeria, go South Africa, go Ethiopia, Okay. And that's how we can continue to live the talk of having to, bring people together in terms of collaborating when it comes to the artist to artist,
Let's talk about that, because when you talk about, and thank you, because I've never heard that perspective.
Yeah.
Because the first time I went to overseas Africa, I went to Djibouti, and I got into this debate with this young lady from Ethiopia, and she was telling me I wasn't African, right? And I said, I'll be damned if I'm not. You're not gonna tell me I'm not. I did my research, so on and so forth. But we started talking about that divide between folks on the continent. Not just any particular country, and folks on this continent. And it's had me thinking, that was years ago, of how diabolical the systems, the systemic process that's been put in to divide us, not only in the States, but also in the continent of Africa. These invisible geographical boundaries that separate Nigeria from Ghana, who put that shit there? You know what I mean?
Like, they did in 1884, in the Berlin Conference, after they chop it up, they just made a meeting and be like, all right, now let's name it. You take this territory, you take that territory, let's guard it. That's why the military, the militia, etc. And in the news, Mali just... it might be radical to the West, but Mali just got rid of French as their official language now.
Yeah, man.
They're taking the freedom. They be like, we need to be for ourselves. We need to own ourselves. And you find that going on in the French colonies around the West African side. Burkina Faso, coup d'etat. There's a young president. I call him president, of course. So it's really a pertinent issues that is going on right now on the continent of Africa, because we're getting tired of the fact that we cannot access one another as a continent as much as we should as the custodians and the indigenes of the continent, whereas everybody else from outside has the right, has the capacity to do what we can do, as simple as locomotion, moving around, and being ambulance around the continent. Because the more we do, the more we are able to come as a united force, and present it with the arts and culture, So,
man, STONEBWOY, I'm gonna let you jump in, Tracy. I'm just fascinated by this guy.
Same.
You saw him perform, you understand why it is. When I think of Ghana, and I know I don't want to go into it because you've spoken about it many times before, but you had a well-publicized incident, friction with another artist, right, in the past. And it had me thinking, but y'all squashed that and you moved forward. But when I look at Ghana and I look at Nigeria and I see artists like Davido and Wizkid and Burna Boy, they're selling out international,
Massive.
like stadiums.
Massive.
Man, what's going on in Ghana? Like, how can Ghana and Ghanaian artists unify and stop with whatever division that might exist there? Paint the picture. What's going on in Ghana, man? Tell the truth.
Is it in comparison to what you just said, as in selling arenas, etc.?
Okay.
I don't believe outright it is because of the disunity amongst us as artists. That would ever exist. That would forever exist. There are twins don't even speak to each other.
Twins.
Twins.
There are some twins who don't speak to each other, and even if they do, I think it's natural in life for hurdles to come and go.
Okay.
And out of the hurdles, then you realize how strong your family ties are or your friendship ties are. Because if you don't get to cross it and get stronger in bond, then that means it's supposed to break. You know what I mean? So that's how I see everything in terms of, that way. It's not because of our disunity that we are not really, selling out avenues and arenas here in the West. I think the reasons go beyond that. Of course, all the Nigerian artists are my brothers that you see. They are not living together.
Yeah.
They probably don't speak to each other on a daily basis. Of course, we have you can see the fan bases on the internet coming at each other. I can tell you that for sure.
Okay.
Once upon a time, there was a big outbreak fight in Ghana between two of the greats, which is Burna and David. And I was right in the midst because I took David to the club. And I had to duck out.
You had to duck out?
Because I had my issues around that time. I couldn't get another red flag.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Your issues was with
Yeah, them one day.
Okay.
Yeah. I couldn't get another red flag, so I'm like, but I told David, let's move out of here because I knew the information that was on the grounds. So to talk about the little fights, the little frictions, it exists. It might never end. It could probably duck and then come back out. But I don't think that for us Ghanaians, that is what is responsible for our international exploitations. Now we have to look at the factors. I'm here on Sway, the first Ghanaian artist to be here. If I'm not kidding.
Man. Come on, let's go.
You see what I'm saying?
About it.
And I've been on Breakfast Club, the first, if I'm not kidding. I've been the first to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Why should that be? Because I believe it's my focus, it's my drive, it's my tenacity, and then it's God in the beginning of it all, is divine, is our mission, is our purpose. Of course, because Burna, first African today in 2023 to be selling out stadiums in the West.
Yeah.
So I keep saying, has people not done this before? Yes, they have, but probably they didn't do it on this level. So it takes time for us to be growing and going. So I really know about the differences between what the Nigerians are doing and what Ghana is supposed to do, and what Kenya is supposed to do, and what Uganda is supposed to do, and what Zimbabwe is supposed to do, and what Mali is supposed to do. So you know what I'm saying? So the thing becomes like one brother is inspiring all of us to be able to work. Do it. It's possible. When Nigeria does it, then we know it's doable.
Absolutely.
But another factor is that, you see, I don't want to cause no chaos, but when you come to the whole of Africa, right, Nigeria pushes the most. And you can find Nigerians being very popular around the African continent in different countries. But you might not find other African artists as popular as Nigerians are in Nigeria.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I want to keep that there. And I don't want to go into that line.
Okay.
So the thing is that I've been calling out all the people like, yo, let's roll. Know your artist. If you're Ghanaian, make sure your Ghanaian artist is the ultimate priority. Because, of course, from the blueprint, a Nigerian's top priority is a Nigerian artist.
Yeah.
So that is the way we can all emulate to be able to keep doing some of the things that, they've been doing. Of course, their number is like 350 million population.
Yeah.
Therefore, they have the power, the number force, as well as they do have the attitude, the innate, the business mindedness. You know what I'm saying? Like all other
positive, progressive minded,
all other positive attributes that make them who they are. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean other Africans don't come out to those venues. That doesn't mean Jamaicans don't pop out to those venues. So basically, it's I think it's a grind. One day at a time, it's gonna get there. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be able to also do some of the mighty things like we've always done. But I tell you this on authority.
Okay.
Ghana as a country is the hidden secret behind so many progress of Africans and Africa in the diaspora.
Give me some examples.
Kwame Nkrumah is the founding father of freedom when it comes to the whole of continent Africa. Ghana got its independence in 1957, being the first country sub-Saharan. This man started building hospitals in Egypt, moving teachers to Nigeria. The history is there, so I'm not even talking entertainment alone. High Life is an original birth child of Ghana, which is and will forever remain the foundation of Afrobeats music today. The father of High Life music is E.T. Mensah. It goes on and on and on and on and on.
High Life music?
Yes.
Okay.
Fela Kuti, who is a mighty legend from Nigeria, would tell you in a few documentaries the ties he had with Ghana, how he had come to also learn some things and take it on. Ghana is only 30 million, maybe 50 million. But these are some of the examples I can show you. Like, we actually bust the door to say the year of return.
The year
in
return.
2019.
Yes.
And that thing took the whole world by storm.
Yes.
So you see, I will always believe in Ghana, the black stars, the red, gold, green, you know, and always be behind us as a people because I know us. And when you know yourself, you're confident enough to speak in knowledge. You know, so as a Ghanaian, I understand the kind of ingredient that we give to the world and also to the other African brothers. So I don't see it in competition. I see it in collaboration because Africa is a huge continent filled with families. We have those who are the nomads, the farmers. Not all of us can be in Nigeria.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But Nigeria, I believe that sells everything.
Absolutely.
And pushes everything. But they don't create everything.
Yeah.
So credit has to be given to those that also are the creators and cannot sell. You know what I mean?
Don't have the platform or the the resources and all.
It's for me, it's just like the body. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The hand does something else, but it's equally important. The head does something else, is equally important. That's how I see us as an African people. Not all of us can be the head.
I love it.
But the buttocks is as important because when it gets a boil, you can't sit. The head is going to be hot.
I like that. STONEBWOY is here, man. We're going to play this song, Life and Money Remix. It's out tomorrow. It's the new single. It's off the album on Fifth Dimension. It's Life and Money featuring Russ. It's on the remix. Stormzy was on the initial. We're going to play this, come back with some phone calls.
Yeah, for real.
You know, hey, man, I'm loving this conversation. Shade 4 or 5. Come on, man. Life and Money. That's a remix with Russ. Shout out to Russ. Very incredible artist, and he does a lot of amazing collaborations. Sound engineer, MC, songwriter. What made you put Russ on the... How did you even meet Russ?
I think Russ is a very real guy. What happened was like, I think I saw something he posted up on IG and I reached out to him. I don't know, I get really attracted to people who don't play with their moms.
Yeah. He loves his mom.
So I think it was something around that I saw and what he did just reminded me of my mom, man. So rest in peace, man. I'm always, you know, I was not able to do so much for my mom because at the right time she decided to go and be an angel over me, you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it touched me and I hit him up and I said, yo, big up yourself, you know.
Yeah.
And then he replied back and I realized, all right, we could do some music. It was not really on the music. It was really because of what he posted and it touched me. Then I found out, because, you know, Instagram is sending you some random sometimes, and then that's how I found out. And then he's a great guy because I love to make music with people who I can really relate to in real terms. And then I'm like, okay, fine, this song I believe will fit because it has a hip-hop, it has a vibe, and the concept is also life, but it's money, you know. So I gave it out, and then he couldn't wait. You know what I mean? He was so busy, but he found time to smash it. And I shot the video last week in Atlanta when I just dropped thing. Immediately I touched New York from Ghana, went on the next flight to ATL to get it shot, because I'm releasing it tomorrow. I'm happy to announce it.
The video's coming out tomorrow. Life and Money. Big round of applause.
We could even drop it over here, you know. We could drop the song as a teaser so you guys get it first, exclusive.
Okay.
Because I appreciate the platform, isn't it?
Come on, man. Hey, they're going to go crazy in Ghana for this. You call your album Fifth Dimension.
Yeah.
What is the fifth dimension to you?
To me, apart from the dictionary and all the scientific, you know, definitions, the fifth dimension is the next level. It's the levels at which you're confident and comfortable with your innate, the inside of yourself, and how it syncs with your physical, you know, your spiritual self, your physical self, and your creative self, knowing that it has a higher source, you know, that is supposed to bring the message, the vibes, the melodies, you know, the feeling, the energies, the vibrations, the waves, you know. How else could I call this album that consists of all these things but the fifth dimension? So you're feeling, you know, you're feeling great, but it really touches the inside of you more than it probably does the physical anyway, you know. So there's no other way I could, because that's what music stands for. Music is word, sounds, and power. So at this level where I'm creating my fifth studio album, coming all the way from Ghana, Shaiman, the ghettos, pushing all this agenda till this point, I realized that this is it. This is the fifth dimension, you know. There could be nothing else. I couldn't call it anything else. And as much as it's my fifth studio album, that's the fifth dimension. And everybody knows, if you read, you know what that dimension is. So you have to believe, you know, that's just how it is. I want people to use this album or even hear that and know that, yes, you can get in touch with your highest self.
Yes.
You know, and succeed in this life and fulfill your purpose.
There you go, STONEBWOY. Tracy G.
STONEBWOY, you know, having been introduced to your music, I immediately gravitated towards it. And now being introduced to you a second time through your words and your presence, like, you are an international treasure, my dude.
Thank you.
You really, really are. The details behind your wisdom, this being able to illuminate not only those in the room, but so many of our listeners, just major, major gratitude. And it makes me wonder, because here in the States, we obviously speak to so many different artists, right? And you have some where their initial fuel for getting into this game and staying into this game is perhaps fame, right? Perhaps it's the money. Perhaps it's just to have fun with your boys, you know what I mean? And not have to adhere to any type of boundaries, restrictions. It sounds like this mission you have on your music has been here for this long, but maybe I'm mistaken. Was the mission always attached to the music?
100%. Right before I even did anything, I could sit with myself and understand as a child, you know, because I was born into the church arena. My father was a preacher man, same way he still is, you know. And so I grew on the word. I understood that word, sounds, and power is the only one that can change people's mindsets and transform it into their attitude to become better people. So when I found out my innate as a musician, I realized I asked myself what I would love to do. And what I want to do is to preach the word of the Most High. And this is it.
STONEBWOY, come on, are you good with that, Trey? That's good. Let me go to some of these callers real quick. Let me go to some of these callers. We're gonna go to Arkansas. So people tune in from all over the country, all over the world. Yeah. They call in live. We got Leek on the line from Arkansas. Rise and shine, Leek. What's popping?
Leek.
Rise and shine, rise and shine. Hey, I'm glad to get through again.
Yes.
I'll talk to you guys.
Okay, Leek, what's your question? Leek, what's your question?
Yes, STONEBWOY, you did kind of answer my question, and I like the fact that he's not just representing Ghana, but he's representing Africa in a whole.
Of course.
So what advice will you give for like an upcoming artist? I'm from East Africa. I am Sudanese, South Sudanese.
Wow, big up South Sudan. Big up Dynamic. Watch out, let me tell you what I want. Big up Dynamic.
Oh man.
You know Dynamic
Yes.
sound? Dynamic is the only Sudanese wild crocodile representing for Africa
Really?
in the diaspora.
I know.
That's the
I
one
know
killing. Dynamic is. Well, let me give you your flowers. South Sudan. Dynamic is killing all Jamaican sounds in Jamaica.
Wow. Really?
He just clash up and kill bass or DC sound in Jamaica, the reggae song fest. And he's an African sound system.
Wow.
He's a championship, you know. But how many people know about this? It's important we amplify this, you know, as black people for the culture, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I know the segregation he faces. I was on the phone with him yesterday. I performed in Jamaica with him a couple times at the Rebel Salute and all of that. Big up South Sudan, any day, anytime. There are so many pyramids in South Sudan than in Egypt. Check it out.
There you
know
go.
what I mean?
Come on. There you
Thank
go.
you, thank you, thank you,
Them
thank
there,
you.
you know?
Yeah, come
Thank
on.
you.
Hey, Leek, you ain't got nothing else to say. Thanks, man. You a
Just
citizen,
take that
man.
Sway the
Big up
morning.
yourself.
All right.
He said it
I
for
need
you.
my citizenship.
You
I
a
need my
citizen. You a
citizenship.
citizen.
Sway the morning.
All right,
I
man.
mean,
Get it the
like
last time?
I mean, like he has as an upcoming artist, what can you do? Find your purpose
Yeah.
and work your purpose. And time is a master, you know. That's all I can say. And time is not basically like in 20 years or in 10 years or in 2 years. You know, time is actually time. Just receive it like that because just keep the consistency. And if you're ordained to be, you will, of course.
On the subject of time, in Ghana, is there any ageism when it comes to music the way it has been? Like hip hop, that's been quite a hurdle that I feel like we've jumped over. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Finally.
You've been
Yeah.
finally.
Yeah.
You've been called the Jay-Z of Ghana. I was just saying earlier.
Honorably by the honorable, and I take it. Yes, of course.
But there's
of
many
course.
people who co-sign that, you know. And earlier this
course.
morning, I was saying I love that my favorite artist of all time is well into his 50s. But that wasn't something that felt like we were going to have in
good.
hip hop. How is it? You're in your 30s
Of
now.
course.
Do you feel like you'll still be this loved when you are in your 50s?
The thing is, I really respect that. Of course, I think Ghana per se particularly has to also. I was surprised when you added that finally. So I'm like, has it not been like that the whole time?
No. Recent, no. Like this
Always
year.
called a young man sport.
Probably this year.
Yeah.
Finally. Yeah.
Then I'm impressed because then we're not behind. Because if we are yet to also get to these levels, then that means that we're not behind. I used to think that we were behind because, of course, music and popular music would probably, regulate or rotate around a certain age bracket. But I believe that, look, people can live beyond the age bracket when it comes to music, and that the systems should be able to, in Ghana, should be able to operate around that level because that's how we can grow. Every family needs the grandfather. Every family needs the great-grandmother if they're alive, of course. But then if we're trying to cut a system, an entertainment industry where it's only filled with kids, where would the knowledge be? Where would the experience be? You know what I mean?
The wisdom.
Yeah, that's how they. That's how they. That's why they separate.
More
in
divides.
the States when you go back to when we got illegally transported here. That's how they separate. They divided us. The young, the old, the darker hue, the lighter. All these little superficial
Men,
reasons
women.
to create division. Jules on the line. You're in Ghana or you're from Ghana, Jules?
Hey, Jules.
I'm from Ghana. I'm in Toronto, Canada right now.
Yeah.
666.
You know what a fire
right?
is? Yes, sir.
Did that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So I'm Jules from Ghana, an advocate for Africa. I've been pushing
Oh,
Africa.
is that the Jews that I know?
Yeah, it's your Jules.
Brother, get off the phone.
You know this guy?
Yes, I know. He's a designer as well. He does, like the. Nah. Yo, welcome to the States.
Thank you. Listen, let me tell you this though. This is a prophecy manifesting right now
Of
because
course.
years ago when nobody would listen to us, we were fighting and advocating for Africa globally through music.
Of course.
And we knew we were going to make an impact, and we called it the African Invasion Movement. STONEBWOY that you have in your studio right now is one of the first people to show up for me for African Music Week here in Toronto, Canada.
It's a mission.
When I
You know where
called
we
him-
depend. You know where we depend.
When I called him, he showed up. Okay, so that's
Hey, yo, you still need to pay me that my money, though. You know that. You still need it. Now you got money. Now you got money. I need 1,000 racks. I know.
Actually, I got a gig for you.
Come on, I'm just kidding. But you know how it is. I respect this. This is divine. That's that brother.
Like
has been
Sway,
that day from a
Sway,
long time.
what I want to say to you is this interview is going to be something that archives that every other African is going to want to be on Sway because this is STONEBWOY coming through. And as an advocate for the African music industry, we are on a mission to bridge the gap between Africans in the motherland and Africans.
That's why I do Beam concert. 8 years running, Caribbean, Africa every time. I bring Beanie. I bring who? Morgan Heritage. You know, we put our monies in it. We'll make it happen.
Support it, right?
Ain't no profit business. It's spending to keep the culture alive. I want people in
investment business.
STONEBWOY has done everything from he's connected the dots with us throughout the whole of Africa. Then we connected the dots in
I'm in Canada, end of August. The tour is on, so I can't wait to see everybody pull up. 25th to 27. So big up yourself.
Big up
one
yourself.
love, my brother.
Okay.
One
all right.
big
Yo,
love.
hey, Jules.
Wait, before I go,
Okay, Jules.
the whole crew is going to get merch from us. Okay, it's clothing by
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Africa in me.
Okay.
Everything. And thank you for
All
having
right, thank you,
Of
brother. You're a
course.
citizen, Jules.
I
You're a
swear to
citizen.
God.
We'll link up later, yeah?
Thank
Okay,
you very
please,
much,
man.
brother. And that 1,000 became 100K, so I'm
Okay,
waiting.
yeah, it's not the same 1,000. Put them on hold
Yeah,
for
a
me.
couple more
Okay.
zeros.
All right, thank you, man. Hey,
Respect.
this has been, unfortunately, damn, Lord Serious coming up next. All right, I gotta ask you one or two things though before you go. You mentioned, I'm curious to. I read somebody in your crew is an advocate of cannabis. Is this true? The cannabis industry.
Say again?
It's some weed, marijuana.
Okay.
The investment into the cannabis.
You know the answer
legal,
already.
man.
You know the answer already. By that face, you know the answer.
But what do you think about that? Because somebody from Ghana told me that that's a thing now.
Yeah,
People
of course.
investing in
I don't know how you got that information. I'm closest friends with the hemp Ghana founders. You know, one is Jamaican, one is Ghanaian, and I think it's a great movement. You know, we all know the profitability of the hemp or the weed cultivation. It definitely, I don't need to be here to talk.
Yeah.
You know the vibes. Like, if Florida can tell you that slave trade benefited us as a people, then they can tell you that ganja is not good for the people.
Yeah. Come on, there you go. We're going to leave him right there, STONEBWOY right there. And don't ask me how I know things, brother. That's why I am who I am.
Yeah, but Ghana legalized it now for commercial purposes.
Yeah. Okay.
And part of that usage is definitely gonna be the smoking. So, you know.
There you go.
Of course.
Okay, man. Hey, listen, man.
Dark shades.
Shout outs to the president for making that happen. We're about to sell some kilos.
Yeah, man. Listen, man. Let's go. I'll be over there with you.
Of course.
All right. Let me know when you're going home. Okay, man. Look, we gonna have to do this some more. We're gonna have to do this again. Okay. But man, I would love to throw on some music, man, and have you have some fun with us in this right now. You know, this is a little different, man. It's a celebration. Normally, I'm talking shit. You know what I mean? Normally, I'm
right.
I ain't got it. I'm standing up,
looking
popping my
camera.
shit at you. But man, you already proven to me, man. It's a celebration, man. This is like the last act on the concert tour. All right, this is my man STONEBWOY. Give him a round of applause for this electrifying conversation.
Thank you very much. And I mean, before I go, I think we decided to set up a promo code they decided to set up a promo code for me because I'll be at SOBs. So the code is SWAY.
Oh, really?
For $5 off, because I'm doing an intimate at SOBs on 11th of August.
Okay.
You know, of course, I'm doing a park on the 5th of August for the Ghana Fest. But the 11th is more intimate, and so my people says
SOBs. So
SWAY is the code.
Okay.
For 5% off. So
make
sure you guys get on there.
Go to SOBs.com and you can find out more about this. The date, August 11th, the birth date of hip hop. He'll be performing at August 11th. That's the birth date of hip hop. 1973.
Wow.
And you in the States, the home, where it all began.
Shout outs to DJ Kool Herc.
You go. Yo, say that to him. That's my brother, man. Show him some love. I'm going to send him the clip. He would love it.
Big respect to DJ Kool Herc, because I read and I love to get the things, African descent also. Yes. So, it's one Africa, you know what I mean?
Man, that's from STONEBWOY, man. Come on, all the way over in Ghana.
And you said the code is Sway?
The code is Sway. Put in Sway, you get that discount. DB, you got something for him?
As a matter of fact, I do.
Hey.
You know if this works for you, man. STONEBWOY here. He said,
what am I talking about? You know I'm the real representation of Afrobeats, dancehall and reggae music. It's like a 3-in-1 kind of business. That one of them freestyle. Turn it up in the head cup for me now. Turn it up in the head cup for me now. STONEBWOY they and me and sweep anything now. Man, I go make the fire cool now. Watch you now. I go blaze up the fire every time when me day up on the Sway radio. Better know. Man, the representation of Afro dancehall and reggae music. You better know. No, them sit clear, say the thing catch a level. African dancehall put food on me table. Give me the VGMs, give me the mama, give me the Afrimas and the BET. So me unconquerable. Ganga leader, man a leader, follow me leader. Better lead, fall sleeper. Like a king, I go collie. Can't wet me up, man a tapolin. Well then, alright. Who say them a say? Them a the governor? That me never hear. No. Ha. Well, it's a puppy show. Take them fi come back another year. Sway, STONEBWOY. And me did that feel say fi go drop some hits on the Afrobeat. No. Yeah, son about that thing, otherwise I the dancehall give me fame. Me no give a F when some boy one tag. No say them a send a whole heap of attack. Just like you na man being through the shack. Guide me 8 back. Oh no, if you no say that the fire can cool. Better no say that when I go swim in a them pool. Man bad, chains for my neck, me looking so cool. That shit there, where you want talk to me now? Nobody test me again. Come on. This I wanna freestyle me now complain. Come on. The microphone a burn it a burn. Come on. I want them again. Anyway, pull it back. Freestyle. Any kind of rhythm we fall in, we murder it.
Any kind.
Any rhythm?
Any rhythm? You still going?
Drop in.
Let's try something else.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Okay.
You rock over there?
Yes, I am rocking with this.
Hey.
I'm rocking with this. Woo. Hey. Anyway. Hold on. I want to do this one.
Okay.
For my people out there. I want to talk about my country, Ghana. I know the vibes.
Okay.
Well, let me say, in this Ghana system, headmaster sell the food for the school feeding. Government no yet pay the teacher, but pressure upon teacher to teach the students. Rasta can go a good school because of the dreadlock, so him have to go trim them. And robbers take over the street if a boy violate, gunshot a beat them. I want to know, no. Africa mama, yeah, waiting this up now. I want to know, no. Africa mama, yeah, waiting this up now. Competition full up is a extortion when the preacher man full up. Woman a sell out them body one way at the other in the name of cook up. Me send the money now run because poor man picking no go see London. The system they make we weak every day of the week till like kingdom come. Wah! We they complain too. Say who them we go run to. The leader them they try them a lock. Even themself them they find where they go run to. So with they complain too. Say who them we go run to. The leader them they try them a lock. Even themselves Yeah, me now, no.
Come on.
Bumbleclad. I may say Holy Ghost fire go burn them one by one. Who no want to see me enjoy? After man deal many things with the blood and sweat, them want to see me destroy. Watch a me a they do it my way. Say I never they put my faith in a no man Yahweh. Cause guess what me a they pray more life and grace. Make us say there now. I'm dripping with the saucy day body. And yeah. I know competition there with nobody. Yeah, well, I'm gonna say into the future we show. I'm not gonna leave you at the end of the road. Give me your love and you know it's safe. The baby not gonna listen to what them say. Yeah, into the future we show. I'm not gonna leave you at the end of the road. Give me your love and you know it's safe. Sway, baby never listen. What me give ya? Alright, me go so then. Me give ya something with them sweet and ginger. She never get it mad and see. Cause she come me every morning say she tired of the mac and cheese and one thing more of the geezer, yeah. Well, a one time touch and she already fainting. All them time we be participating. She never know what I'm anticipating. The mission is her heart for the taking. No. Me, I watch you long time. Say I see you for dream. Oh, it no be one time. Maybe I want to go.
Yeah. Yo, STONEBWOY. STONEBWOY up in here. What we talking about?
Superstar!
We got a hyena up in here. We got a hyena.
Them Ghanaian hyenas is different too.
What we talking about? Ghana, stand up.
Yes.
Ghana.
Oh, so good.
Ghana, stand up.
Yeah.
We up, Ghana.
Whoa.
That's enough, man.
Gift us,
Shit,
gift.
goddamn, I'm gonna
That was
punch the
so
mic.
fun.
Yo, we would have did a whole fucking concert right now. I wasn't gonna tell him to stop. I know Lord Sear pissed off right now. Wow, man, you're very talented, brother.
Yes, you are.
Thank you, brother.
This is coming from, this is divine. This is that fifth dimension.
Was
And-
different styles, you know, real representation of Afrobeats, reggae, and dancehall. That's been my roots from time. So you don't know, we keep representing for it because it's a symbol of togetherness. This is what we need most now as we're here. You know, our people in the diaspora from the Caribbean, Black Americans, America, Africa. This style that I'm blessed with is supposed to be like, you know, a connector to everybody because it has everything in there.
Yes.
And I want to say this because a lot of us over here, we go to these platforms, these organizations to trace our roots back to Africa. And I want to encourage those who are in Africa to do the reverse, the deconstruction, and trace your family roots back to the States if you can. Find out who are those people that are you feel me, that are related to you,
of course,
that are connected to you,
of course,
if you're able to do it, because that togetherness is a global thing.
Yes.
That has to happen. We are the most powerful. We are the original.
Of course.
Right? We are the vanguard. We are the first. We are the alphas. And and we're at our best when we're all together.
Yes.
Look what we created.
Wow.
Come on.
Wow.
In this moment, man. STONEBWOY,
I
give it
never
up.
heard it like that before, for somebody to, you know, preach the fact that we should also be able to trace which of our peoples were carried beyond the ocean, right?
Absolutely.
Of course.
The burden should all be on us.
It's not a one-way.
It's a two-way at anything.
To find where you're from, but you can also find where you went.
There you go. There it is. That's the title of the new song.
You know what I mean? You can find where you went.
Important.
Yo, give it up for STONEBWOY. We got Lord Sear up next. If you want to follow him at
STONEBWOY, STONEBWOY on all platforms. And trust me, I'm in town. I'm touching base in some cities, so its link is in my bio. You can find me wherever you want to find me. In the States, I'll be performing, so come check it out. You don't know, and the new single is out. The album is still fresh. Make sure you grab it. STONEBWOY, STONEBWOY, like the Jamaicans spell it.
Okay.
STONEBWOY on all music platforms. Bless up.
There you go. you go. Maybe we'll see him at the Harlem Festival of Culture this weekend, starting
course, I'm
tomorrow,
here.
Saturday and Sunday. Okay,
I'm gonna hold your hands with that.
There you go, family. Now that I'm on the board, we can get you on the stage probably. So quit playing. All right, cool, man. On that note, man, we gotta go, but we'll be back tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you so much.
Go on Sway's Universe. This was live, and we'll be posted in the next day or so on Sway's Universe, and you can see this amazing conversation and performance by STONEBWOY. That's on Sway's Universe. Until tomorrow, y'all stay on the right side of positivity. Let's end it with African System.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right. This is off the Fifth Dimension album. STONEBWOY is called African System. Shade 4 or 5.